Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you are doing fantastic. I'm feeling swimming, real good. I think we're just going to focus on web development today, and honestly, just jump right in. Let's go ahead and do it. How do I learn PHP web development as quickly as possible? I have a commercial background. PHP is one of the harder ones to learn, but the most valuable, absolutely most valuable language, or at least in my opinion, that you can get a handle on. I would say if you are willing to dedicate the next 2 to 3 months, if you're willing to dedicate that every single day, I have a funny feeling you can learn it in that amount of time. If you've learned any other coding language, it'll be easier for you to grasp, because a lot of times coding languages have a lot of similarities as far as syntax, functions, classes, objects, methods, variables, strings, all that type of stuff. But if you don't, that's okay too. I helped my good friend Isaac out when a year and a half ago-ish, and it's insane the amount of things that he's learned in the time just by being around me. But he just thinks about things differently too. So it just depends on how you're able to programmatically handle, learn, programmatical stuff. You can definitely find really, really good resources on learning PHP online, so that shouldn't be a problem. Get one that is video oriented. Don't get one that's just text oriented. Video, there's a way like instructors are able to connect with you, and you're able to follow along much better than you might have been able to. Maybe I should do like a course on programming, or on learning PHP or something like that. That's possible. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Anyways, I imagine 2 months. I guess the question is why do you need to learn PHP? You need to have a driving goal, like a driving fire, to keep you pushing past some of the harder aspects of it. The thing that you're probably going to bang your head against the most is when you graduate up from functions up to classes and methods and objects. That's a very hard one to put your head around and learn efficiently. It takes a lot of time to really grasp it. But I would say a basic knowledge from learning strings and mathematical operations and functions, learning functions, that would be a good first tack at it in these first 2 months. If you can get a handle on functions, like you don't need to know all of the OOP, object-oriented stuff, or the database stuff and everything like that. That can come as your project gets better, as you whatever it is that you're trying to do. Hope that helps. What are 5 essential skills every web developer should have? 5 essential skills. First one, you have to be a problem solver. You have to be okay with that. What you don't see a lot of times, especially with maybe graphic design. I mean, you solve a lot of problems with graphic design too, but especially what you don't see is all of the headaches and time it took to perfect a very small function that does something just super simple, like getting it down to something super simple. You don't see the refresh page and syntax error, refresh page parse error, refresh page, illegal character string, a refresh page, broken blank screen of death. You don't see all of that stuff at all when you're most times when you're just on the outside. So you have to be able to be a problem solver. Number one, you have to be willing to have something that will break over and over again, that you continue to crack at until it is good. So be persistent. Two, an general understanding for what each language does for you, so you know when to use it and when not to use it. And this is actually a really simple one. This doesn't take having to bang your head several times. If you are in web development, I'm just speaking to web development for my own self, having an understanding of what the 5 kind of core languages do will benefit you greatly. So think of a house, right? Let me see if I can get something that looks like a house. This does not look like a house. That doesn't look like a house. Doesn't matter. Let's just say that for all purposes, this is our house. So the outside of the house, the framework, like the structure of the house, that's HTML. You need good structure so everything doesn't break and fall apart at first, whatever. Now, it's just I'm trying to think of something else. It's okay. CSS is like the inside of the house. So you got your structure, you got your framework. Now inside, you visually want to make it look good. So that's like the paint on the walls, that's like the furniture maybe, that's like, it's just beautiful. CSS really makes things beautiful and visually aesthetically pleasing. So that's what CSS is. There's also subsets of CSS like SAS or less. These are all acronyms for something that make things efficient, but you don't need to worry about that stuff. So we got HTML structure, CSS visual, you have PHP, which is logic. So you may have like a cabin in the woods, right? A structure. And you may have some pretty, like some fur on the floor and whatever, but you don't have any electricity. You don't have any plumbing. So that's really important. So PHP is like the brains of your operation of your house. It handles any logic, like I said. Very, 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 very important. It's like you have a running refrigerator, or you have heat in your house versus you having to burn wood or something. PHP, very important. Then you have JavaScript. And JavaScript or jQuery. jQuery is kind of a subset of JavaScript, but jQuery is really anything that happens after the page loads. So the very simple way of thinking about this is you refresh your page on Facebook. Everything that loaded before things start happening, like after loading that page, all of a sudden someone messages you and that chat box pops up. That's jQuery or JavaScript, or they may have coded it in a different language. You don't have to have just one of these. Not just one of these does it all or solves it all. There are other languages that could solve maybe the same thing, but these are the ones that I know quite well. Lastly is SQL or MySQL, and that's pretty much like the data. So like, let's just say very simply, you have your house, the system, the thing that's working, it's all in working good condition, but if you don't buy any games or have anything to put in it, it's technically, if I figure this out the right way, it's technically empty. So the things that go in the house, block my face, the things that go in the house are part of the database and can be stored there to be retrieved later. Like I said, not the greatest visual example, but I think it'll do. Let me come back to the question, make sure I actually satisfied that answer. Unlock, unlock, do. Yeah, 5 essential skills, or yeah, essential skills. Yeah, they answered 5 essential skills. All right, next question. I answered this one already. I'll just throw it out there. What are the best online web development courses? I think Team Treehouse is pretty good. What programming languages should I learn for web development? My goal is to build a text-based game online. I've never coded before. Same thing as what I just now mentioned. Like, honestly, to build that, you'll probably want to have a good understanding of at least 3 of those. I'd say HTML, CSS, and PHP. How can I become a full stack web developer in half a year? Well, kind of the same thoughts previous, but to give more of a deeper thought or look, what I would do personally if I were wanting to become a full stack developer in half a year, I need a project that is going to drive me to the end, right? Whether it's learning to build your own website, good starting place,